Yeah, I know they keep moving the stupid record button. It was under the little three dots on the side. I would click it. Now it just says captions. I don't want captions. I can hear Craig just fine. Now it's
Hello,
in the middle. I
everybody.
hit middle. It's like, what do you want to? You want to do it to the cloud? You want to record to the computer? What do you want to do? It's like trying to check out. All I want to do is I want to put my card in there. I want to put my little digits in there. I want to walk away. I don't want a car wash. I don't want anything else. I don't want to donate to any charities. If I want to donate to charities, I'm going to do it myself. Okay. Just leave the record button right there, Zoom, please. Hi, I'm Jason.
Hello, everybody. Now that Jason's rant is over, welcome into the midst of the shadows.
Hi. Okay, now I got that off my chest. This has been an ongoing thing with Craig and I doing these podcasts here. It's like Zoom messes with me. They keep moving where the record button is all over the place. Every time I sign out and sign back in, it's a different. Just leave the layout alone.
See, luckily Jason handles all the recording and editing and stuff, so I don't have to deal with all that. So I just get to laugh at him.
Oh man, sometimes technology just gets stupid for stupid's sake.
I agree totally.
All
So,
right.
as we're done ranting, we are in the midst of the shadows. I am one of the hosts, Craig. This is my co-host.
I am Jason. Nice to meet you. Welcome back.
Yep. Or yeah. Or sorry if you came back. I'm not sure which. Or as I like to say, when somebody asks how you doing, I'm like living the dream or somebody else's
Oh, we
nightmare.
just
I'm
looked over
not
here in this
sure.
corner to the people doing the reaction video to our video,
Oh
but we're
yeah.
going to be doing a reaction video of somebody else's video. So it's going to be like this whole inception thing of reaction videos. But we're not reacting today.
No. Well,
What are we
kind
doing
of.
today?
Today we went out and dug up some ghost stories,
Yes.
and we're gonna share some with you. So I'm gonna go first because I have this one. It's not a very long one, and but I want to give some background on it after I read it because the background that this Reddit user who is Macabre Cowboy 84 posted this on Reddit. It says my experience at an abandoned orphanage in the UP verified by 4 others. The city I went to college in, Marquette, Michigan, had an abandoned Catholic orphanage. By the way, I had 2 kids that went to Northwest or Northern and Marquette. Just looking at that place, you could guess it was haunted if you believe in that sort of thing. I was a skeptic before my experience, and I still sometimes question if my mind is playing tricks on me. But as you'll hear in my story, there was 5 of us present that all witnessed the same thing. Anyways, the backstory, and this is where she's right and wrong at the same time. The backstory is that the nuns who ran the orphanage back in the day were very strict and cruel. I remember one particular story. A young child went outside to play in the winter, despite the nuns having told the children not to go outside because it was too cold. The child then got pneumonia and died. The nuns allegedly displayed the child's body in the lobby of the orphanage as an example to the other children and to demonstrate that the child would still be alive had he, she, I can't remember the gender, listened. Stories that this child haunts the building as a benevolent spirit and often appears as a blue-green orb, generally in the basement area. Okay, I talked to my daughter who did 4 years in Marquette, and she sent me, a couple articles about this place. This wasn't a Catholic orphanage.
Hmm.
This was a transition house for Native American children.
Oh,
And
okay.
yes, it was a little girl who had died, and they did display her body. And they were cruel to these children, and they beat them horrendously all the time, starved them. I mean, the stories of the crap they did to these native kids is just
That's
horrible.
terrible.
Yes. So, anyways, all right. So, continue on. 4 of my friends and I decided to explore the orphanage one night. It was a bit difficult to get into, but we eventually managed. We had to enter onto the second floor just with how all the doors and windows were boarded up. Initially, nothing really happened. It was a neat place to go see. Then we went down onto the first floor. As we were walking down the hallway, I looked to my left, down a stairwell. That's when I saw it. A bluish green orb floating there. After a moment, it quickly darted down the stairwell. I immediately asked my friends if any of them had seen that, and when they said they didn't, I told them I thought it was time to leave. None of them wanted to, so we continued down the hallway. As we approached the end of the hallway, there was a large room right at the end that looked like it may have been a classroom or something. Excuse me. Suddenly, I heard what sounded like children whispering coming from the classroom. I could tell everyone else was startled too, and one of my friends said, "All right, it's time to go." After we got out of the building, we all recounted what had just happened. All five of us had heard these whispers. If it was just me, I think my mind is playing tricks on me, but five of us heard it. That was pretty much it. Apparently, the orphanage is now an apartment complex, which it has been.
Mm.
This place has been turned into an apartment complex. My daughter
Wow.
actually checked out an apartment there. She was thinking about living there, then found out the backstory on the building and refused to even go there.
Oh yeah, no, no. See, me being her age, I would have ran to that opportunity.
Oh fuck yeah, me too.
No, yeah. I mean, that would have been the literally the shit. Knowing what,
Yeah, but
but now that
for
I'm
her, it
older
wasn't.
and I'm a little more aware
Yeah,
of it, no, there's no way.
and for her, it wasn't so much that it being haunted. For her, it was because of what happened to the kids
Yeah.
there.
See, that's the haunting part. Probably wouldn't. I would still probably consider living there. It's the history. That's what I meant by aware. It's like
Right,
I'm more cognizant of atrocities and things that happen.
right.
You know, does that mean I'm woke?
If
What?
you ain't woke, you're sleeping.
So exactly. Uh, sorry, I didn't mean to speak any political here. That's not this channel. We'll do another channel some other day
Yeah,
that people will hate.
yeah. Well, they probably hate this one already too.
That's probably true. That's probably true. Okay, so when I think of things like places like that, I think of urban exploring.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
going to use that as a segue into my first story. And I kind of told you the story already, but I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to tell it again here. And I'm gonna do it a lot faster this time. All right. So urban exploring has been popular for years. Just urban spelunking, I guess is another term for it, where you go through abandoned buildings and you take pictures and stuff like that. Well, in the late 80s, urban exploring was really on the rise, especially in Russia in the former Soviet Union. One of the places that people like to go to or try to get to was this mysterious, mythical, horrific place called Chernobyl.
Right.
Now, one of the reasons everybody liked to go to try to get to these places because it was the radiation was subsiding a little bit. It wasn't deemed safe, but it was safer,
Okay.
and people didn't live there anymore. But there was this whole mystique of this entire town that was around there. They left that night. They were forced to leave that night. Now there's pictures that these people have taken of like TV trays with the plates still on them where they were. They just had to leave. They couldn't. I mean, they couldn't even finish their meal. They had to just get them out. So these images and these stories spread throughout all of basically the world at this point. Well, five Russian kids decided to take this hour and a half trek from their hometown to Chernobyl, and well, not actually Chernobyl, but the town that's around it.
Right.
And in this town was an abandoned. Well, obviously everything's abandoned, but there's an amusement park. So they
Right.
parked their car outside of the gates where they thought the car wouldn't get messed with. It was away from everything. They break in and they start exploring this amusement park. Now it's creepy, and they're just looking around. And they left early in the morning. So now we're talking like by the time they get there, we're talking like 10 a.m. Okay, and they're just kind of like milling around, just freaking out because there's so much to take in. One of the guys decides, hey, I'm gonna go. There's an open door over here. I'm gonna peek my head in there. So he walks into the building and he's there for a couple of seconds, and nobody there. The rest of them just kind of wait for him to come back and say if it's safe because this place has been abandoned. At this time, it's been 8 years
Yeah.
since the incident. So they're hanging out and they're waiting for him. All of a sudden, he just screams, just deathly screams, like, "Help me!" But obviously in Russian. And when they run up there, he's not there. They go into the building. He's gone. The only thing that
Holy
they
shit.
see is in this opening. There's a hallway, and then there's a room, and in the room there's this huge pile of gas masks. And on top of the gas mask, there's a chair that sits with a creepy doll, which is similar to, or like it was described like the one from Saw, but it's wearing a gas mask. But their friend is gone. There's there's no trace of him. They walk
Jesus.
around inside that building. There's dust everywhere. So you would have seen drag marks, you would have seen footprints. There's nothing. So they go outside and they're like try to gather their wits, like, what the hell just happened? Where'd their friend go? And they spent the better part of the next couple hours trying to find him. Well, as they're like, okay, maybe we need to go get help and let people know that we're here so we can get our friend. Well,
Right.
as they're walking, uh they're walking through and they're in the shadow of this tree. As they go through, they turn around and their friend like starts screaming, and they see a hand come out of the shadow, grab him by the ankle, and another one come up and grab him by the back, the neck, like they're going to do a horse collar, and pull him into the shadow. And he's gone right in front of them. Now there's
Jesus.
left. They freak the hell out.
Well, yeah.
One takes off this way, and the other two take off this way. Well, oh shit, I forgot a small detail.
Okay.
So when the guy was going into the warehouse, one of them says, "Don't do it." Okay, minor detail, but now we're rewind.
Yep.
So when they now the three take off, one goes north, the other two go south. When the two go south, they finally stop running, and then they're standing in this clearing, and it's all sunny, and they're like, "What the hell was that?" And then his friend looks at him and says, "Why did you tell him not to go in there?" So he starts telling this backstory. He's like, when I was younger, I found this Ouija board, a Ouija board.
Yeah.
And he said, I was playing around with it, and he said, I was moving the planchette, and then I let go of it, and it started moving by itself. He goes, but it went to 4 letters. GIFT, gift. He goes, from that moment on, I've been able to see bad things right before they happen. And I saw him getting hurt. He's like, what? He goes, yeah. And I saw what happened out there to our friend just before it happened. He said, why didn't you say anything? He goes, I was petrified with fear that it would actually come true. And it did.
Right.
But now the other guy's freaked out that this guy's claiming he's got some kind of paranormal gift.
Right.
But they agree, they calm down, they agree that they have to find the other guy and they have to get the hell out of there.
Right.
And when they're told, how do we do this? We stay out of the shadows. So they're dodging shadows around, and now they spend a couple hours to try to find this guy. And when they're getting to the other side of the park, and the guy goes, he's gone.
Mm.
And at that, just a couple seconds later, they hear this blood curdling scream, and it wasn't that far away. But the other guy like, well, fuck, he's been right 3 times now, so they decided to get the hell out of there. Now it's starting to get like past dinner time, where the sun's getting lower and lower in the ground. So they spend the next hour or two hopping around, getting out of the park, and they skip all the shadows. They get out of the park. Obviously, they don't have the keys because somebody else does. So they find somebody. They hitchhike back to their hometown, and they're like, "What are we going to tell everybody?" There were 5 of us when he left. There's only us 2 now. They're going to blame us.
Right.
And they decide amongst themselves, fuck it, tell the truth.
Right.
So they go to the cops. They tell this. They're put into different rooms. They both tell the same story, all the way down to the detail that the kid played with the Ouija board.
Right.
So, the cops go, okay, first things first. Well, let's go check this out. They go to Chernobyl. They go to the amusement park. There's their car. So obviously they had been this far.
Right.
They go into the park. Now this is the next day.
Okay.
They go into the park. Now they're not concerned about shadows or anything like that. So they just go in through there. They find the building that they talked about where their friend was taken. They go in there, and what do they see? they see the creepy ass doll with the gas mask and the gas mask all over the floor. So they knew most of their story was true. They
Right.
made it this far. So a couple months later go by. Obviously, the friends are gone. The friend who has the gift just disappears as well. And his parents find a note that says, "Sorry, I'm dangerous." And he ran away, was to this day never seen again.
Okay. So I just looked up the Russian word for gift.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Okay.
It is 7 letters long.
I did it for story's sake.
Okay. I was just debunking you in real time. Okay.
I said it that way in story's sake.
That's fine.
Because most of our audience speaks English.
Right.
Probably because that's what we speak, and I don't know if this shit's getting translated.
Right. But could you imagine that?
Right?
Being able to see this shit before it happens?
Uh-huh.
That would suck.
It would. That is not a gift I'd want.
No, because you can't stop from happening.
Uh-uh.
Because he's seen it literally seconds before it happens.
Yes.
So how do you stop it?
Have you ever seen a Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
So it's like they had the whole the whole point of it was it would set time back like 5 seconds so that you could fix one mistake.
Right.
But this isn't enough time to do anything.
No. I would be like jump back an hour and not drive to the fucking park.
Exactly.
All right. So my next one was posted on Reddit by user tie_more, as in necktie.
Uh-huh.
All right. This one I found kind of freaky. It's pretty short. Okay, so a bit of backstory. Back in 2010, I had a whirlwind romance with a woman who had alcohol problems. Didn't we all? We would go on dates and she'd end up getting sloppy drunk every time. When she was like this, she would scrunch her face in a very peculiar way and say stuff like, "I'm glad I found my daddy," as I would always be picking her up off the ground or having to drag her to the car and get her to bed because of how inebriated she'd get. And I could never get her to slow down. It all came to a head one day when I broke it off with her over the drinking, and that destroyed her. The last thing that night and ever was that I was the most important thing. Okay, the last thing she said to me that night and ever was that I was the most important thing in her life. I hate how these people, when they type, don't finish their sentences. But I laughed at her and said her alcohol is more important than me and left. She broke down bawling as I packed a few things I had in her apartment and left. Okay, so this is where it gets strange. I'm a firm believer in the occult and have been part of multiple secret societies, so I have a somewhat weird view of reincarnation. Well, in 2018, that girl killed herself while drunk. I ended up finding out from a couple of friends about what happened. I was pretty devastated. She was an amazing woman when she wasn't sloshed, and to say I didn't have any feelings for her is a huge lie. Anyway, in those 8 years, I moved to another state, met and married my wife, and started a family. Right around when my wife had originally gotten pregnant with my daughter was when the other girl killed herself. So forward now to 2023. I had some strange things come out of my daughter. First off are her mannerisms. She makes the same smirks and has said things that stop me in tracks. She said to me, "I'm glad I found my daddy," just like the dead woman.
Oh, jeez.
Just as bashful as the dead woman. I showed her a picture of the dead woman. She says, "She looks like me." I don't know if I'm projecting or not, but I don't think so. I do fully believe in reincarnation, but part of me feels sad that all she really wanted was a family.
Oh.
I mean, that one kind of hit.
Yeah.
I mean, can you, like, there's no way in hell your daughter, who was born after this woman died, could come up with a saying exact, what are the odds?
Oh, yeah.
So that one kind of threw me a bit. Threw me for a loop.
I bet.
So, especially, I've got 3 daughters, so.
And yeah, there's weird coincidences like that like my current girlfriend, was telling me a story the other day that when her youngest son was like 3 or 4, was sitting on the end of his bed, and he was in his room just sitting on the end of bed, and she's like, he was talking. She's like, what are you talking to? She's, oh, I was talking to Pop Pop. And she just kind of looked at it, was like, no, that was the name that everybody called her father, who had passed away before this child was born.
Oh wow.
And he's like, oh, I talk to him all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's like reincarnation, and then that even if this woman wasn't reincarnated, the kid could be
Yeah.
taking mannerisms from somebody that they see a lot.
Right, because if she was that attached to him
Uh-huh.
and he broke her heart like that and she killed herself while drunk, she could have been thinking about him, and that could right there become an attachment.
Right.
But
Exactly.
you didn't ask for. You didn't ask for it, but you're gonna
No,
get it.
and you didn't necessarily want it,
Right.
but
That reminds me. So similar to like your story. So my wife's oldest daughter used to have imaginary friends.
mm,
Weird names. I can't remember what they were, but one day she just stopped talking to them. Well, they had that place up in Drummond Island, which I told you about.
uh-huh.
We go up there one summer, and her name was carved onto the top of her dresser, but it was spelled wrong. And she never did that.
Huh.
And the only ones that were ever in that house were my wife and the girls.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, because like I remember being up there one day and they were calling it something, and I'm like, no, its name's Bobby, and they're like, what? I'm like, that's just what popped into my head. I don't know.
Mm.
And like I took pictures of them. I don't still have them. I just kind of chalked it up to my cameras being weird, but I took pictures of them at bonfire we'd made outside, and like the background was all clear, but their faces were all blurred.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and wasn't just one picture. It was like 4 pictures.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm like, it could just be the firelight. It could be this. It could be that. You know.
There's a
I
lot of ways to explain it off, but that's
right.
too,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially if the name was carved in there. This entity is powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what's your next story?
Okay. My next story is this woman. I'm going to credit where I got these stories from at the end of all this. So,
Okay.
woman named Jennifer Martin told the same exact story for 36 years.
Okay.
Okay. She lived in a small town in New Mexico, not far from Albuquerque.
Okay.
So one night, when she was 13, I think 12, 13, something like that, she's driving in the pickup truck with her father. And
Okay.
her father was her rock. This man was everything to her, the strongest person she's ever known. Never knew this man to ever flinch at anything, but he was also a kind, gentle soul.
Okay.
So they were riding in the truck one night, and they're going down these. It's New Mexico, and back roads in New Mexico are very similar to back roads in Michigan. There's just, instead of being planted fields forever, it's just desert forever.
Right.
And this area had just had to be desert, 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 and flat. Well, when they're driving along, and the father's like, "What the hell is that?" And they look up, and she wasn't really paying attention until now. She looks up the windshield, and there's a 6 or 7 year old girl walking out into the desert, and it's night. They're like, and the dad's like, "What the hell?" And so he stops the pickup truck, and he's like, "What should we do?" And he called her Bug, which this is kind of what resonated with me when I was a little kid. My name was Buggy.
Right.
But so what should we do, Bug? And the girl's like, "I've got a bad feeling about this. I've got a really bad feeling about this. We should go get the police." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's a 20-minute drive to the police station. It's a 20-minute drive back here. She could be anywhere after that. She could be long gone." You know,
Right.
what if she really needs help? So before she could say anything, the father had the truck in park and he's hopping out.
Right.
Now that Jennifer is scared to death at this point. She said she's just freaking out. She doesn't know why. It's a little girl, but she's freaking out. She opens up the door and steps outside and watches her father, who, like I said, she says he's the strongest man she's ever met or ever thought would, the strongest man on the planet, according to her.
Right.
He walks up to the little girl and he mumbles something, and then as he got closer, she said he was probably like 3 or 4 steps away, stops. He's facing the back of the girl. The girl does not turn around. And then after she says like a minute or so of him just standing there, starts backing up, backs all the way back up to the truck and gets in, says nothing. And then when he gets in the truck and she's like, "What's going on, Dad? What's going on?" He says nothing. Puts it in drives straight home. It's not a word. She keeps asking him, what's the matter? Nothing. Pulls into the driveway. He hops out of the truck, walks straight in the house. Doesn't acknowledge her, doesn't nothing. But she's freaking out now. It's like, here's this little girl, dad's silent. It's not the same person.
Right.
Walks so she follows him into the house. No, he went into the house, leaving the kitchen door wide open. And then so the kitchen door is wide open, all the lights are still off. So she just, I'm not gonna walk through the house, lights off.
Right.
Turns the light on to the kitchen. Out of the corner of her eye, she sees a little girl. Jumps back up against the wall. Shrieks out, jumps back up against the wall. No little girl there. So at this point, she doesn't know if she's just seeing things or if that little girl was there the whole time.
Right.
So now she's already scared, but now she's trembling. But she's got to find her father because she's yelling out for him, "Father, or Dad, where are you? Where are you?" No response. Goes through the house, turning all the lights on as she goes. Finally goes up the stairs, but it takes every ounce of her strength to walk up each one of these steps. Deep breaths every single time. Heart's just racing. Gets to the top of the stairs. Bedroom door shut, and she knows the light switch is not right by the door. It's in the room a bit. So she musters up the strength, turns the door handle, bursts the door open, runs over, hits the switch. Father's not there. And she's like, this is the only place he could be in the house because she's looked everywhere else so far, right? And then she's flailing around like the little girl's not even there. There's nothing. And then all of a sudden she was just chomp, like this loud crunching noise that comes from the closet. The closet door is askew, but she knows it's got a pull chain in it, and she doesn't want to reach in and pull the pull chain, so she's hoping that the bedroom light is enough. She jumps back, flips the door wide open, blood all over. And her father's watch, the watch that his mother gave just before she had died, was laying in the middle of the closet floor. No body.
Oh Jesus!
Just the watch, just blood. She heard a huge crunch. No other sounds, just a crunch. So she calls the police. Now the closest neighbor they have is a mile away, so she couldn't run to the neighbor's house. So she had to stay there until the cops get there.
Right.
They get there. They spend the next couple of days going through every square inch of this house, underneath the house, in the attic, all around. They bring in canine dogs from other states to do a mile perimeter all around. Their bodies never found. So that the police decided to send her through to a psychologist or psychiatrist, and spent years going through because they believe that she had something to do with it.
Well, yeah.
But then for the rest of her days, she never saw her dad again, and he just lived out the rest of her life over in Albuquerque.
Poor person.
But she also lived every day in fear that the little girl would come for her.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Man, that's terrifying. I don't have any that are that good.
Oh,
Here, I got another one. This one is from Reddit user because I got all mine off Reddit.
okay.
Mander Sisme. I've told this story in different subs before, but I'm gonna tell again. My sister and I were staying at my parents' house. They live in this old farmhouse from the 1920s in North Carolina in the U.S. I don't know of any other North Carolinas anywhere else in the world.
No.
Okay. We were both grown with children. We had babies around the same time. So my youngest and her only child were with us that night. They were about 2 years old at the time. This farmhouse is relatively small. The bedrooms all connect to the large family room on one side of the house, with the kitchen and attic access on the other. Anyway, my sister and I had just put the babies down, and these people can't spell either. I mean, put and out are two different words.
Right.
We had just put the babies down in the spare room. At the time, we put them in the big bed together and lined the outside of the bed with pillows in case they happened to roll off. 15 minutes after putting the kids down, her and I are chilling out on the couch, probably smoking some weed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd be doing. When I hear what sounds like one of the pillows falling out the bed, I jump up real quick to run and check, and I don't see a thing. Everything is as we left it. Go back to the living room with sister, and about 5 minutes later, we hear, and I've never seen or heard anything like this before ever, what sounds like footsteps running in the attic, like legit footsteps. We heard it walk the length of the room, then right by the door, we heard a loud bang from the attic. I was freaking the fuck out. We woke up my dad because we were so scared someone was in the house. This is in the middle of a field in North Carolina. My dad has a hunting dog kennel in the yard. Those dogs bark if a butterfly lands on the mailbox. They didn't make a sound the entire experience. Dad gets up, checks the attic, around the house, everything. I didn't even really believe in the paranormal events until this experience, and I'll never forget it. You heard footsteps. I mean, I hear them every night. It's fucking squirrels in my attic.
No, right. We used to get squirrels in the attic in my parents' house. So yeah, I know we heard tons and tons of paranormal activity.
Yeah, them dropping them fucking nuts on my ceiling drives me up the goddamn wall.
Oh man.
All right, you got another one?
I got one more.
All right, cool. We'll wrap it up with your last one then.
Okay. So this happened in 1989 to a kid named Justin Clegg. He was 16 and his parents were going to go out of town.
Spell his last name.
Clegg.
Okay, I thought you said click, and I'm like, huh?
Oh,
Clegg.
Clegg.
Okay, sorry,
I got
go ahead.
told, so
Yep.
okay, he has three siblings, and the siblings were going to go stay at friends and relatives' houses for the week while his parents were gone, but he had talked his parents into letting him stay at the house by himself. It's the first time he's ever had anything like that. Remember the first time you got the house alone?
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
It was, it was a liberating experience of my life. Like, everybody went to Rose Lake and I stayed home, and it was like, this is awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, so he gets the house all alone, and plus he had access to a car. So he had home alone, access to a car, is freedom.
Right.
So he's out during the day and he comes back home and he opens up the door, and then all of a sudden he hears this massive like white noise static and this disembodied voice coming from downstairs where his sister's bedrooms were. Now he knows his thinks it's his older sister because she does have a stereo down there. So he thinks it's that, but the voice, he thinks that somebody was messing with a stereo and said something. Runs out of the house, goes to believe it or not, says payphone, calls the cops. The cops show up. They go through spend 30, 40 minutes, go through every room in the house, and the cops come back and says just must have been a glitch with the stereo. And he's like, okay. He was still freaked out. Now goes in, eats some food, whatever, goes to sleep. Middle of the night, same static.
Oh shit.
But this time the voice, it's the same voice, but this time it's in his room and it says his name.
Oh fuck.
Jumps out of bed, freaks out. But there's nothing there. Okay, just scared. Oh, he's scared to death. Doesn't feel like he slept the rest of the night. So goes throughout the rest of the day. Then he okay, so no, they search the or he doesn't. I lost my place on here off screen. Okay, so nothing happens for the rest of that day. Next night, he eats or it's next morning. Actually, he eats his breakfast, and then it's like uh he just had this headache from like something from the night before. So he's like, you know what? It must have been from the lack of sleep. So he ate something. He's just gonna lay back down, right? Well, he lays back down and he has this dream that he's in his closet, staring back at his bed, watching something else sleep in it. And
What?
almost. Uh, sorry. Uh, watching something else sleep. Something else. So the what the thing beckons him. So he opens up the closet door, comes out, and now he's got this thing where it's like this knife goes into his arm and just rips it open, and he's sticking his fingers into
Ugh.
wound, right? Well, he wakes up and there's blood all over his floor. He's got this huge cut on his arm, and the words "Angelus Mortis" is written in his blood on the wall. So he's freaked out,
Right.
washes up, doesn't know what the heck is going on, right? Delirious from, it wasn't that much blood where he was like in danger,
Right.
but it was a big enough cut to where
Right. Lack
anyway,
of sleep and
goes through his day, tries to passes out a little bit, doesn't know what's going on. Next time he comes to, he's standing at his neighbor's back door with a huge kitchen knife,
oh, Jesus.
and he has no idea how he got there. Doesn't even know what time it is, because it's nighttime now, and it was like, he just woke up in the morning from this bad dream that he had where he cut himself.
Right.
Doesn't know what the hell's happening, right? So goes back, goes home, puts the knife away for first, goes back to sleep. This is like Friday night now. His parents are coming back Sunday, and has just passes out, right, from all the exhaustion, the confusion, the frustration, the deliriousness. And the next time when he wakes up, he's being tackled by his father, and his mother's screaming at him while she's calling 911. And
Shit.
and they're like, he tried to kill her, he tried to kill her, he tried to kill her. And it's like, what he's like, what the heck? And he's covered in blood. And he woke up and he was stabbing his sister with this huge kitchen knife.
Oh, shit.
They came home, he missed from like Friday night until they came home, and then he came up and he stabbed his sister like 22 times. She lived.
Holy shit. Oh, good.
But he gets arrested and interrogated, and they asked him, what was the word that you wrote on the thing? That he says Angelus Mortis. He goes, what does that mean? He goes, in Latin it means angel of death. And so they start talking this, and he tells the story about the creature that was the thing that was laying in his bed was the angel of death, and that's who had been talking to him this entire week.
Oh, shit.
And he spent the rest of his days living in a sanitarium.
I believe it.
In Utah.
Yeah, I can see that. Which is weird because that triggered a story, and I'll make it quick because I know you got to go. My old house, you remember it because you helped me put the ductwork in. I work graveyards. I got to work at 10 o'clock in the morning. I come home. I dink around the computer till about noon. Then I go upstairs and I'd lay down and go to bed until about 4. So I get home, get out of my uniform, dink around the computer. Around noon, go upstairs, just get everything set just get laid down in bed and comfortable, and then I hear my front door open and close, and then I hear my stepmom call my name.
Hmm.
And so I quickly get dressed and run downstairs going, how the hell did she get in the house with the door locked?
Yeah.
And when I got downstairs, there was nobody there.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. But I distinctly heard the door open and close and her yell my name.
And her voice.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, we'll have
So
to do this one again. I enjoyed doing this episode.
I'll find better. I'll find better stories. Yours blew mine out of the water.
I have found all three of mine were either I'm going to credit two people with them. They're either Mr. Ballin or a Horror Story channel on YouTube. They were YouTube channels, and they're great stories. So go check out more of their stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, I listened to a bunch of stories doing this research, but then I just went to Reddit because then I could just print it out.
There you go.
So, all right. Well, so we told you guys a couple of ghost stories. We don't know the validity of them. We don't know if they're true, if they're not.
Right. I don't know if any of these stories were true or if they were just written for this. If they're written, they're pretty good.
Right. And I'm like I think I did better the last time we did this when I wrote my own horror story.
Yeah, that was good.
So, but yeah, so tune in next time and see what we have to offer, because we never know what we're going to do until we do it.
All right. You guys just keep on doing what you do and know where the record button is.
That's right. Peace out. Love you
All
guys.
right. Bye. You want to do this again for Sunday?
Yeah. Did you stop recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't say recording has stopped.
Oh, it didn't. I didn't.